Internacionales, Pachucos in the house.
Hi, my name is Mariposa Loba Padilla, and I come from Santana, California. Representing Los Originales Ochi Pachucos International. That we're trying to unite all the Pachucos together right now to make this culture a lot bigger than what we have. This is our purpose, to be able to unite the culture and make it grow a little bit more. And you are?
Yo soy Esperanza López de Patrón y representando la sección de Culiacán, Sinaloa. También, como dijo ahorita mi madrina Mariposa, para unir todos los pachucos, ser todos internacionales y ser una unidad nada más.
Hi, my name is La Sencilla Lopez, international oldie singer, and I come and I join with the music part of the culture.
Mari?
Hola, mi nombre es Mari Rodríguez, yo vengo representando a Tijuana. Igual, representando la cultura de los pachucos, encantada, me encanta esta cultura y encantada con estar aquí.
Okay. Your next, Papa.
Me llamo Arturo Oropesa, represento de Los Ángeles.
My name is Jimmy. I represent Malobo.
Pachuco.
Part of the Pachuco movement.
Part of the Pachuco movement.
Yeah, my nephew. We're all learning to be a little bit more united and keep this culture alive. That's what we want. And so here we are, representing La Música. That's
I'm sorry,
like.
and I forgot to tell you my nickname is La Killer, La Asesina. I forgot to say my nickname. Well, we like color and we like elegance, of course, and we're classy, so it's a combination of a little bit of everything.
Well, some of us have our like some of us have our dresses and our things made. They have them made tailored,
Custom tailored.
Jimmy's suit represents my husband's Lobo Pachuco Padilla. He also tailored his suits, and a lot of the suits we got at El Pachuco Zootsuit also too. Yeah. And Art, he got his tailored too. And so we like to mix and match colors, and that's what we like to do. Yeah, we're very colorful and we love music. Melina is a wonderful singer, so she's the music part of this.
Yes.
So when we get together, she's a singer.
I'm a little bit more on the pinup side, but I still blend in very well.
What does that Pachuquismo mean to you, and like how did you first hear about it? What was your first exposure to it?
Okay, my exposure was through my relatives since like my uncles and my aunts, they were part of the Pachuquismo, and then my husband loved it. So we just continued with the culture. Even my nephews that are here present, my son, my grandsons, we all love the movement. What inspires us is what our ancestors, what our families went through back in the 1940s, 1950s. And so we just continue with the movement. We continue representing our Raza.
Yes, the classiness, the elegance, I guess what you see, la firmeza, even when a Pachuco stands up for a picture, the way he stands up proud. Las jainas, I used to call them Pachucas, but I guess they're jainas. Las jainas, elegance. I guess that classiness, I guess I must have been an old soul. I've always loved the old movies and see the glamour. And again, that gentlemanness and chivalrous. And I guess you see it, and unfortunately you see it that much nowadays, and you see it in the movies. So that was always my attraction. So I must have been an old soul, because I used to be criticized a lot. Even when I was a young girl, everybody would be dressed in that era, and I was always with my hats and feathers and flowers, and
It's a
always
beautiful style.
very girlish,
What
but
about you,
represented very nice, like a ladylike.
So as for me, I've always been an oldie singer. So I was doing a few events, and where I got to meet my compadre, rest in peace, Lobo Pachuco Padilla. I had seen about the Pachucos since I was a little girl, but I never imagined to even meet one until I finally bumped into him at one of the car shows that I was singing at. And then, I met Mariposa, his wife, which is my love. And then we just started blending in, the culture, the music, and it went on from there. So, yes, that's my take on here.
Yeah.
Picking up on some of the Galo words that you guys were using, so can each one of you let us know which is your favorite word, and how do you use it in an expression or in a sentence?
Like Jaina, is that right?
¡Órale, pues! Simón. I like
Simón,
it.
that's the one. Yeah, that's
I still use it with my kids. Simón, mijo.
Oh, ¿qué hubo?
¿Qué hubo? ¿Qué? Yeah.
Chale, ya dijiste. Es todo.
El cantón, vámonos al cantón.
Los tramos.
It's an everyday lifestyle for us. It's not just here and there.
Right.
It's part of who we are.
We live it every day.
We have it.
Part of our speech.
Yeah, and our Spanglish too, right?
The music, everything, yeah.
Yes.
Tell us where the word Pachuco comes from.
That's the girl right there.
It originally came from Texas, El Paso and Juarez, I guess. They would call it Chuco Town to go to El Paso. And people would just say, oh, va pa'l Pachuco. So it was just like, oh, El Pachuco, and it just from there. That's where it came from in that section. From other sides, I guess they call them los dandies. Like in Culiacan is dandies. I can't remember what's the other part of Mexico they call it, but I know there's different. El gangster, el dandy, but Pachuco is mainly more the north side, I guess, or Juarez and El Paso. And it just stayed. It just stayed. It's easier for people, I guess, that call it Pachuco than these other names.
It's the way you dress. It's a culture. What it is to us, it's a culture.
All right, what is some of your favorite Pachuco songs?
Hey, Pachuco.
Mambo and a little bit of everything. See, in Cuba, my dad's Cuban, so there's a lot of Pachucos, you could say, and I like the mambo and I like the melodijuadera. I love the Spanish ones.
Yeah.
I'm more the Spanish ones, I guess. You know the English ones.
Perez Prado, he was
Perez Prado, which is represented very.
Mambo.
Yeah. El cha-cha-cha. El cha-cha-cha. All that.
We don't have one, we have a lot.
Yeah.
We're all about
Don't get us
music.
started,
We're all about music and dancing. That's what it's
music's
about.
on.
That's what a Pachuco like to do.
That's
They
right.
like to dance.
And they dance anywhere. Doesn't matter where it's at.
How did the Pachucos Unidos start?
Internacionales Unidos, we started because we wanted to unite our culture. Que crezca la raza, que crezca la cultura, que crezca los pachucos, que crezca lo que nosotros somos. Esta cultura se tiene que llevar más allá de las. There shouldn't be any boundaries.
Right.
You know, there should just all be. We should all be
family.
one.
A big family, big brotherhood, sisterhood.
Yeah, right. That's
Always
that's what-
representing. But
Everybody, nobody's different, nobody's better, nobody's worse. We're all humble here and we're all a big family.
Right.
Yes.
And your loyalty and your honesty is what really carries
Yeah.
you. That what defines
Loyalty
you.
is
La loyalty, la lealtad es algo que define a la persona. No el vestimiento, ni cómo baila, ni lo que maneja. Ser leal.
Yeah,
Siempre con
that's
esa
one of the most
firmeza.
important things, the respect to the culture.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
What kind of message will you give the youth and any Chicano Chicana who's trying to find an identity within their history?
Wow.
Attitude is what's going to take you far in life. Not your education, not money, not anything.
Wanting to live
It's
what
your
you want.
attitude toward
Embrace
life.
who you are.
Right.
Love yourself
And
for who
do-
you are.
Do not forget where
Be
you come
proud
from.
of who
Proud
you
of your
are.
cultura, because
Yes.
your cultura is the most important thing.
Yes.
Your raíces, your roots.
And always-
we're perfect.
And always try to focus more on the positive than the negative. Because if you always start from the negative, everything's going to go bad. Always try to see the positive of something.
Yes.
Even though I know there's hard situations sometimes, but always try to see the positive out of that. Something, even if it's just a little drop.
Yes, we have the best of both, which is America and Mexico, right? So, you know, it's that's who we are. Somos chingones.
If we are known as minority, we're going to be known as the good minority, what I'm trying to say.
Yes. And get ready to grow, because here we come. It's just the beginning.
That's right. So when you see us, make sure you say hello and take a picture.
Anybody who's interested in continuing with the culture, we would, if they want to talk to us or to any of the Pachucos that you see.
We welcome them.
Not just us, but anybody. Just ask, and you're interested, why not? It's great to see growing Pachucos, especially the youngsters.
Right?
Young blood is what we need.
Right.
Ahora, can you send a message to Pachuco Lazaro?
Hey, Pachuco, we miss you.
Hey, primo, how are you?
We love you, carnal. We're here for you.
Blessings. Love you.
We miss you. Wish you could have been here.
My name is Ruby Butrece. I'm an artist from Boyle Heights, Los Angeles. My great-grandfather was a Pachuco in the 1940s. A lot of people don't realize that Pachuquismo has been around since the 30s. It's something that I'm very grateful to be able to share my knowledge and my history, as a lot of Chicano culture is passed on through word of mouth. A lot of us are often incorrect about the history and the timeline. So in the 1930s, Zootsuits came from Harlem, and the word literally zoot was just an alternation of the word suit. So it was called a zoot. Then they started calling them zoot suits. However, the tacuaches from the Pachucos of Los Angeles, of Mexico, of the southern region of America, were an alternative version of the zoot traje that was worn by the Morenos, by the blacks over in the city of Harlem. So in the 1930s, the fashion was brought over from Londres, from London. It was a suit that was made for people to be able to breathe, for people to move. It was active wear, which we see with the Pachuco community. A lot of people enjoy dressing in their suits because they can dance in their suits. So the style of the quote zoot suit is actually from London, came around in the 1930s, and then eventually made its way across the seas to Harlem, and then it was adopted by the Chicanos. And the reason being was they wanted to create their own style. They wanted to have their own identity. People actually don't realize this, but the children that grew up in the 40s, they were children of revolutionaries from the 1800s. Now, if your great-grandmother was a revolutionary, she was probably a pretty hard-headed woman and probably very strict. So a lot of these teenagers grew up with restrictions, grew up with identity crisis, grew up with the idea of trying to change from their root, trying to prevent themselves from having their parents' heritage or having their parents' trajes, wearing a sombrero, wearing things like that. They wanted their own identity. So they adopted the suits, and many of these youngsters used to have parents who worked in the millinery, so they were able to make their own hats. They worked in the fashion district, so they had a fashion that they were able to recreate just by looking at an image, because that's what many of their parents were doing back in that time. Suit patterns were very hard to come by. Creating a pattern was often done from borrowing somebody's traje, maybe your tío who passed away and he was 5 sizes too big, so it fit you really big. That was more or less how people started to do it in the early 40s here in Los Angeles. In regard to the female fashion, a lot of the Pachucas of the day wore huaraches con calcetín, socks with sandals. They wore leather heels or wedges like I'm wearing today. They wore short skirts. The mujeres of the day wore short skirts that revealed their knees. It was considered not correct. And by today's standards, wearing a skirt of this length is, a bit modest. So, again, people were just seeking their own identity, seeking the ability to claim their own and to fall into their own identity. Now, people have adapted and, changed things and have customized things continually for themselves. The way we've always done, we adapt. We are a culture of adaptation. We are people who are resilient, who are able to receive something and not conform necessarily to a strict format, but just to make it our own. So for myself, I grew up loving things that were old and vintage. My mom, she loved antiques that were from the 1800s. And for some reason, when I was little, my mom would take me to JCPenney, to Macy's, and I'd always get little patent leather shoes, frilly bobby socks, suspenders, the little short faldas, and I'd always wear a petticoat underneath. And this was me being 2-3 years old, picking out my own outfits. So my mom had no idea where I pulled the fashion from. She was like, ¿De dónde saliste con eso? Where did that come from? And I honestly, I've been told over the years that I'm just an old soul and that I've probably been here on the earth a few times, which I don't know, but I do feel this strong connection to the cuarentas. And I do know that, my obsession has turned into a lifestyle. I wear all vintage 1930s, 1940s clothing. I wear my copete in a 1940s style with the divot in the middle, contrary to the one that you guys see that looks like a halo. Mine has its own shape to it. And that was very popular again in the 1940s. Rita Hayworth and several other actresses of the time used to wear their hair like this. Carmen Miranda wore her hair in this exact shape in a couple of films. So having the nostalgia, having that glamour of the 1940s is something that I very much aspire to keep alive. The idea of Pachuquismo, however, is a lifestyle. It's a state of mind. It has nothing to do with your threads, nothing to do with your clothing. You could buy something from the Segunda that's from 2000 or from the 80s, and it could still look of the era. Myself, I'm just a nerd, and I like to find things that are really, really old, things that rip the first time you put them on, things that end up needing repair. My house, I have a bunch of vintage furniture. I drive a 1940s car, and again, Pachuquismo is a state of mind. So it doesn't matter what you have, it doesn't matter what you possess. Contrary, the Pachucos were actually very poor often. They came from homes that did not have a lot of finances. So they had to borrow things. They had to remake things. They had to take and adapt what they had and create something new of it. So there's a lot of threads that we see that people have that are brand spanking new, but if we were to step back in time, we would see that a lot of the trajes, the tacuaches, the style, the consafos that these men and women wore were hand-me-downs that were just customized. And often you would take one tacuache, which is the coat, and you'd cut it up and you'd make a falda for your daughter. You'd make another little short chamarra for somebody else who liked wearing it shorter. And you just use what you got, because in that time, tela, fabric, was restricted. So a lot of the people who had access to it were very privileged, but also there was a need to conserve, a need to make it stretch, make it last. I'm grateful and honored and humbled to be living this lifestyle freely, without any controversy, without any discrimination, that's open and public, although people may have their opinion about it. I know that my abuelo, my great-grandfather as well, my great-grandfather used to do business in Mexicali and here in Los Angeles, and he wore his traje. And it was a dangerous time for him. So I wear my traje, I wear my vestidos, cortitas, I wear my copete de aquellas, because there are people who weren't able to do so. So Estoy humilde and very humbled to be able to do so. You know, some people say that it's a thing of orgullo, it's a thing of pride, but I think that we're such a humble community and we're such a humble people that really there's no need to be proud, but there's a need to have respect for one another. There's a lot of history that is untold about the colors of the suits, what they mean. Different colored suits in the 70s, when they resurfaced, they had meaning. So if you were to see somebody in the calle with a certain colored suit, you knew the things that they had done. A black suit was the hardest to earn, and you earned your suits back in the 70s. That's a whole nother topic, subject, which I'd love to talk to you more about sometime. But again, it's great to see people loving the Pachuquismo, keeping it alive, keeping the cultura alive, and sharing their version and their love for their culture and for their history. So learn your history. It's not always in the books. You could do some research online. But if you ask somebody who was alive in the 70s or who lived even in the 40s or the 50s, there aren't many around, but there's a lot of spoken history out there. Just ask somebody, ask a veterano, ask an OG, ask somebody who lived it. They'll be able to tell you a thing or two. My name is Ruby Wu. It's been a pleasure.
Orale, my name is Fernando, the Zootsuiter of town, and thank you for coming to this wonderful day, enjoying a great view. We've got a lot of good friends. We've got Pachucos and Pachucas here. La cultura de Pachucos, I mean, I've been involved since I was a little kid, como like 17 years old. You know, I've always enjoyed the culture, how they dress, el respeto. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, I'm pretty sure other people already said the same thing already, pero I want to tell about the youngsters, you know, that are coming up that don't know about the history. Pachuquismo has been around since the 1940s, and they gotta know the history. I mean, we don't dress like this just because it's fashion or a trend. This ain't a fashion or a trend. This is cultura. It started from the 40s and it's still alive right now. So youngsters are coming up, you know, I mean, this was never accepted. In the 40s, it wasn't accepted. We got beat up, you know. They discriminated against us. So we just gotta let them know that, you know, don't be ashamed. You know, we're here. We're still alive and keeping the cultura, keeping the culture alive. The Pachuquismo, you know what I mean? The Pachuco outfit, I mean, it's not just for men, women, young kids wear them. They're unisex. And I get my stuff from El Pachuco Zootsuit in Fullerton, California. Like I said, I've been there since I was 17, and I've been going back ever since. We got the traje, la cadena, el tando, los pantalones. I mean, this is what it's all about.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Estrella, and I am from Fullerton, California. And I first heard about Los Pachucos. I was not born into a Pachuco family. I don't come from a Pachuco family. I wish I did. I first heard about Pachucos and Pachucas through my now husband, and through El Pachuco Zootsuit, our store, our family store.
My name is Becky Perez, and I'm out of many cities, I should say. I started off in Watts, California, and then I kind of migrated to Southgate. Lived there all my life. Went to school, graduated from Southgate High School, made a family, took care of business. I had twins. I was a sports mother, and I feel like the Pachuco has always been within me because of my roots, my ancestry. It seems like we may have inherited the look, the attire, the style, the love, the feel for the Pachuco look. It's always been in me. I know that my tios and my aunties and even my mom, they had the Pachuco look. I don't know if they suffered any discrimination during the time of the riots, and maybe after, because of course our generations go way back. But I took a liking to it since I was a young girl, and as I finished raising my children, I had a little more freedom to explore with people of my Raza. I've always had that Chicana Raza in me and did all the things back in the day that pertain to the Chicano style, the Chicano culture. And as years went by, I started taking a more liking to it. And I felt that the look I wanted to wear, but I wanted my own style of the Pachuca. Everybody has their own style of their Pachuca look. And I love that because we express ourselves in a way where it's something that suits us. Yeah, just like sister's attire. I know that her attire is to the T. But yeah, you know, it's my style. It's something that I will always wear. It's something that many of our sisters, you know, take a liking and we're drawn to each other and we just sport it.
Yes, right. And it is different. Not all of us, we have to represent how we best feel ourselves comfortable and how we want to be portrayed. I haven't been wearing zootsuits all my life. I started wearing zootsuits a little over 20 years ago when I started working at the store. And I know I hear 20 years and it seems like a lifetime, but it's really, it's not. It's not a lifetime, but you know, it is. It's, you dress yourself how you feel comfortable and how you want to express yourself. I wear the zootsuits. She wears the skirts and she wears them beautifully. Every picture I see her dressed in looks beautiful.
Thank you.
And we do, you know, we're representing the same thing. We're representing the culture. We're representing a nuestros ancestros, a nuestra cultura. And that is what's most important here. And is that we, you know, we're together at the same events, we're representing, and we want to do what other Pachucos do, you know, represent. That is the key word, representation of nuestra cultura. What else? I mean, what else did you touch on?
You know, and you know, luckily, you know, our city, our town has these events where we can express ourselves. You know, we can go out and come out and show up, you know, as best as we want, you know, and we got many of our brothers and sisters that are partaking as well, and it seems like it's growing, and we got the young kids that are gonna also, you know, show their children, you know, this is our attire, this is something that belongs to us as well.
Yes.
Right?
And you know, it's important to point out, because I get a lot of comments on social media as well. I get a lot of comments cuando uso mis pantalones, mis straights, y dicen, las mujeres no usaban pantalón. Women did not wear pants. And I have to tell you this, women did wear zootsuit pants back in the 40s. There were Pachucas. There were Pachucas back in the day. They didn't wear them in the bright colors that I'm wearing today, and maybe not in this fabric, but they definitely represented in zootsuit. ¿Por qué? Porque no querían ser un square. Querían estar, you know, a la onda.
And not only that, the times are changing. The times are changing. So we're able to wear like the modern Pachuca look that we can doctor up and fix it up to our liking. Yes.
Just like the Pachuco created. I was just reading an article. I don't know how accurate it is, from the LA Times, but it said que el traje del Pachuco came from England, and then that it was altered by African Americans in jazz. So it's already been altered. It's already been altered, and then we adopted it, los Chicanos, because then they say, pues no es algo chicano, no es algo de que ustedes deberían de estar usando, because it belongs to African Americans. Well, you know, it came from somewhere. It came from somewhere, just like a style of clothing. This is not something that we wear just because we want to be cool. It's a style that we like, and it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and that is what we like to portray. And you know, I don't believe the zootsuit belongs to any one particular race or any one particular ethnicity, because, like she said, it's through time, it's been changed and it's been altered, and the way we dress is the way we feel comfortable in portraying ourselves.
We feel good in it.
Yes.
We feel good in it.
And that's
And we feel proud. We feel proud. When you put a zoot suit on, it's like the attitude, todo lo que viene, it changes. Your attitude changes. It does. It truly does.
It really does. When you're looking sharp and you feel good and you wear it well, you know, you feel super good.
Yes.
You feel really good.
Yes. And not everybody will agree with us.
Right.
But it's our opinion. That's how we feel.
Yes, I feel great wearing my threads.
See?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your hairstyle today?
Oh, so my hairstyle, La Pachuca, the pompadour. And I have to be honest with you, I did not do this. I have very thin hair, and there's a lot of teasing, a ton of teasing involved. This is fake.
You would never
I have a filler, but I have to tell you, back in the day,
right there.
back in the day, women collected their old hair. They called it a rat's nest, and they collected their hair that would fall off, and they would save it so that they could create a little bolita, and that's what they would insert to add more volume. Because I mean, back in the day, there wasn't Aquanet, there wasn't all these, fancy hair products back in the day. So they collected their hair, and they would put it in like a little net, like they would collect it. And then I want to say it's called a rat's nest. And so they would grab it. Once they would tease it, se lo metían adentro to make it fuller and to make it look natural, because that's really what it is, and it was their hair. And I have very thin hair, I have very little hair, so I have to fake it. There's something in there holding it up. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Thank you. And it takes a lot of work, but yeah, so it's mi Pachuca, mi pompadour, mi pompadour de Pachuca. And then my accessory to accentuate it even more.
Yeah, this hat was purchased over in downtown Los Angeles at Barron's Hats. They customize them for you.
Nice.
I saw this one on the shelf and it caught my eye, but it was much wider. So I asked the gentleman if he could tailor it for me. So he tailored this hat to my liking. And I was so glad that he was able to do that, because I felt comfortable wearing it this size right here. Yeah, and I was lucky to get this hat. You don't want to know how much.
Well, as with anything custom.
Yeah.
Quieres que se mire bien, quieres que te quede bien, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful.
Thank you, love. Yeah.
Sí. So my sunflower huichol beads. I am Mexican. I was born in Mexico. Me vine para acá to the United States when I was 7 years old. So, my Mexican heritage has to be represented as well. So, and it adds color. It's part of the whole cultura. Like she said, you wear it, you dress, and you change your Pachuca look the best that fits you, and I feel like this kind of represents also mi cultura mexicana. Así es que I added some huichol beads to my outfit today.
That's beautiful.
Do what makes you feel proud of yourself and comfortable with yourself. Don't try to imitate anybody else. Be true to yourself. That is my best advice. You have to be true to yourself, because otherwise, ¿quién eres? You have to be true to yourself. That is the best advice that I can give you. Don't let people put you down. Don't let people say, well, te vistes así, no me gusta, eres, malandrín, or you're, a bad person. You are who you are. Don't let people judge you and because of how you dress or how you look. Be you. Be you and be proud.
For anybody looking to buy a Zootsuit in Southern California, what spot do you recommend?
¿A dónde más? El Pachuco Zootsuit. El Pachuco Zootsuit, baby, in Fullerton, California. Elpachuco.com. Ahí mismo. Ahí.
Hi, my name is Lazaro Torres. 310 Los Angeles, Pachucos. I inherited the Pachuco estilo from mi madre y padre. My parents and family came here from Cuba, like most Raza, to seek a better life. raised with the Cuban and Mexican culture. My parents were hard workers. With the hard money they earned, they buy their suits, shiny shoes, always dressed first class. They taught us to gain respect, you must give respect. And even though we were poor, we can still dress classy, speak classy, have manners, love, and respect for others. That when you put on the zootsuit, you wore it with pride and honor. It was like a magical suit. I started suiting up since I was 15 years old. Me and my brother were always best dressed in the escuela. No matter where we went, we shined in the dance clubs all through East Los Angeles. I'm proud to follow my parents' footsteps. Y órale.
Hi, my name is Ernie Pachucos. I'm from Long Beach, California. I immigrated to the United States in 1987, and I live now in Riverside County.
Hey, what's up? My name is Fernando, the Zootsuiter of town. Living in Lake Elsinore, California, coming all the way from there. Representing El Pachuco Zootsuit in Fullerton, California.
Me, I got fall in love with the suit when I was like 15 years old. And then after that, I like the elegance of the suit, how it looks. Since then, I like my own style. Everybody has their own style. It's something that I like. You can express yourself, feel good. Once you wear the suit, it's like you becoming a different person. I like to represent my culture, Mexican American culture, and not only that, but my goal is to motivate new generations. I think I've been doing it for almost 25 years, since I was 18 years old. That's when I was driving by Harvard Boulevard, and I ran into the El Pachuco store. So since then, I've been a customer from El Pachuco. I've been representing El Pachuco store from Fullerton, California. Now we're representing the international Pachucos anywhere on where it's a Pachuco in the world. We're representing them, taking our culture to the new generations. Like I said, that's one of my goals.
Cool. So the first time I heard about Pachucos, I did not know anything about it, don't know what they came from, what they meant. I was in my 12 years, 13 years, around there, when I first saw an ad in the Lowrider magazine. I saw an ad for advertising Pachucos, but like I said, I didn't know nothing about it. So I started asking around, asking older people, older than me, asking them, hey, what is this? What are Pachucos? And so they started explaining to me who the Pachucos are, when they started back in the 40s. It was just the way they dressed, the way they got around, went out to dancing. This is the Pachuco trajes, el traje de Pachucos. Got the pants, accessories, shirt, tie, el tando. So that's how I found out about Pachucos. Once I learned about it, I was like, I like it. I like the history they have. They started back in the 40s, and it's been going on since then. Ever since then, I've been going to the El Pachuco Zootsuit store in Fullerton. I went to my junior prom in a zootsuit, and everybody loved it. And I went back to the store and I told them about it, and they were like, hey, we do events, and they invited me to go like car shows, concerts, and stuff like that. And I learned more about it. I learned more about the history through them. And ever since, like I said, it's firme. I like it. And for other people that don't know about it, it's not a fashion, it's not a trend. This is a culture. This is the style back in the days, and it's still going on right now. So here we are, Pachucos.
Same thing right here. A lot of people think that we only wear these suits once in a while. In my case, that's the way I dress since I was 16 years old, 17 years old, when I bought my first suit. That will happen in Mexico. Once I immigrated to the United States, that's when I ran into El Pachuco. I've been buying my suits in nothing but El Pachuco store.
all my accessories, everything you see on me, they're from El Pachuco. Now, like I said, we're representing too the Pachuco International. We're proud for what we do. We want to motivate new generations. It's growing little by little, thanks to Facebook. Because back in the days, we all were like wearing our suits, but there's no a lot of movement because there was hard to find information about the car shows or any type of car shows. Now, thanks to Facebook, it's growing up more because we're getting we're getting out to each other more often, and we can express ourselves by going to car shows. So that's the part I like, and like I said, my goal is to motivate new generations.
That's right. Pachuquismo is our pride. Pachuquismo is our lives. We will stay Pachucos.
Right.
My name is Connie Xochi Quetzal Gonzalez, and I was born in El Paso, Pachuco, Texas. I was raised here in Califas, and what got me in Pachuquismo, I was born in it. My father, he was raised out in El Paso. Our entire family was from El Chuco, so it's already instilled in my blood. That's what I grew up hearing. That's what I grew up listening to, watching, and hearing the stories of the Pachuco days from my father and his Calo speaking and whatnot. So I think that just naturally was in me. It wasn't something that I felt like I had to, as far as Pachuquismo, that I had to like pick up on or learn. It was already like in my veins, in my blood. So that wasn't too hard to pick up on at all. And then seeing pictures of, old pictures of my family and even other non-family members in history, it just felt like very familiar to what I was used to hearing and listening to my dad as far as that. Okay, so I'm also a Brown Beret, and I am actually the comandante of the Brown Beret organization. And I got in that about 5.5 years ago. And that was what got me into becoming a Brown Beret was, my parents are migrants, so I did grow up also within the migrant working family. And so that was my upraising. I lived on a farm for the first 6 years of my life, and seeing the injustices, that are happening in our cultura, in our struggles within our gente, it made me want to go out there and be boots on ground, and do the work in person. So I became a Brown Beret for that. And I became also a danzante a little bit before becoming a Brown Beret. So that also, just like Pachuquismo, is just instilled in my blood. And it's a different aspect of Pachuquismo, Brown Berets, and a danzante, but they all come together. It's all pretty much the same. It's the roots that we belong to. Of course, Brown Beret is our militant side, and danza is our ceremonial or spiritual side, and the Pachuquismo is it's our estilo. They all combine themselves to our way of life in one.
Hello, my name is Nicolas Gonzalez. Pachuco history. It kind of goes back. Way from from family times. Not being there, but hearing stories or seeing images. I have a lot of photography and old images of the family in dance halls. And so it was just a style of not so much Pachuca era, but just the location. Families comes down from Chuco town out there in El Paso, then later kind of migrated down this way, to Los in this area. But growing up, it's always been just a way of life. It's just it's just our style. It's not a costume I put on. Just how I get down. And just depending what day it is, what kind of threads I want to put on, and if I want to shine or do a little boogie. But that's the kind of style I made into it. Got Pachuco, you got different names. That's more 50s, 40s. It's a little bit times change, but we still kind of keep that same style, and we make it our own style, and just share that and with the others. And not just our threads, but the cars as well. Caruchas have a lot of big part in the style, clothing, music. Music was a big influence as well. Different styles from the 40s. You have Don Tosti, you got Lalo. But that's that's a little bit of my thoughts here. Zootsuit, growing up as a kid, we watched that, because that was just that was just like a story of telling our life story, even though it was a particular incident that happened that movie was portraying, I believe, but it's still, we can all relate, something that came out and everybody could relate to it, that, because those were stories that our jefitos and jefitas heard from their parents, and then, it's just so that movie, and it's still today, I think, goes on, and and it's just nice that everybody still can carry on that I shouldn't say like a tradition, but just that way of life, how we can still go stay strong and stay sharp.
So being born in El Paso, and to be exact, Segundo Barrio, my mother pretty much was the one that worked in that area. She came from Chihuahua, Mexico, and so did my father's roots as well. And that's how she met my father in El Paso. And so I didn't grow up there, but being that I have half of my family on my dad's side and my mom's side out there, I spent every summer out there as a child, teenager, and it still was in my heart, and it'll always be part of my heart. And so being that my father would tell me stories about Pachucos, and he was probably at the end of the Pachuco days. It was more so my grandfather. My grandfather was more of a farmer, and so my great-grandfather before then, in fact, our Pancho Villa was something that was part of my father's side. And in that aspect, there's stories that I've heard of Pancho Villa that are great, but not so great as well. I won't get into that, but just to let you know a little bit about that, my grandfather was born where Pancho Villa died, and my great-great-great-grandfather was a train conductor during the Revolution days in Chihuahua, and so that's how Pancho Villa was in our lives, in my family's life. As far as the Pachuco days, I know a little bit of history about that, like the Sleepy Lagoon case, and most of us have watched the Zootsuit movie, and so we all know about that case as well through that movie. And a little bit of those stories in that movie, my father watches it with me, and he can relate to things in there, as far as like how the police would be, harassing and targeting the Chicanos specifically. That's something that has never, to this day, we, as a brown beret, I can tell you that's why I also got involved, due to police brutality of our people. It's something that never gets old, and it's saddening that to this day, from the 500 years of our ancestors being oppressed, still to this day and age, our people continue to be oppressed. So it's just stages, like our ancestors. I do danza, brown berets, that's our, movimiento time, 1970s. And then of course my roots with my father, my great-grandfathers, during Pachuco times. It all combines, and to this day, as the Pachuco life, I feel like it's a combination of all of those together.
My name is Gary, they call me Lefty, and I'm from the LA Harbor. And I'd like to give a shout out to Lazaro, first of all. And he's good friends with my wife. And I'm 62, and I've known about the Zootsuits for a long time, but they brought it back with the movie Zootsuit. And it was around for a long time. I see at least 10, 15 years, and then it kind of faded away. And slowly I've been seeing it come back. And my wife, during the pandemic, had noticed a bunch of them dancing, and she thought they were from here, and they were from Texas. So we wound up meeting a lot in Texas. We have a lot of friends in Texas. We went all the way over there, and they are heavily into Zootsuits over there. It's not like here. The Zootsuit supposedly started over there in Texas from a guy named King Tan or something like that. And me, I just think it's like a pride, and this stuff possesses you once you put it on. You become that person. And it's a form of dress that I've never seen anywhere, and I like it. I've always liked it, and it's coming back. I think it's making a comeback, and doing something like this will keep. The thing about it is introducing it to a lot of the youngsters that don't know what it's about. And this right here is my grandson. This is Anthony. This is called Little Chuco. And say a word.
I'm from Northside Limos.
Tell them what you started. What's your name?
My name is Little Chuco from Northside Limos.
And he's getting into it. As you can see, he's been doing it for like about 2 years now. Yeah, about 2 years. And he really likes it. He really likes it. He likes to dress. And most youngsters, it's hard to even get him to dress up. But he likes it. And my family was into it. I got family from San Bernardino. And my aunts would always tell me that, I used to ask them, how come they wear their hair like that? And she was telling me that they used to wear razor blades in their hair. I never really believed it, because I don't think the Mexican girls are like that. The Mexican girls that I know like to fight with their fists. They don't fight dirty. They might use their fingernails, but I've heard about the razor blades, but I've never seen it. And I hope I don't. But I'd like to give another shout out to Lazaro and my wife Stella. She had a 60th birthday party for me, a Zootsuit birthday party. And I'd like to thank her very much, and that's it.
Cool. Let me introduce myself. My name is Arturo Orozco. Kind of new to the Pachuco scene. One of those OG veteranos from the city of La Mirada. Been a Chicano since day one. Proud of my gente, my culture, the whole Pachuco scene is, like I said, kind of new to the game, but I've always admired or been fascinated with the whole history of it and how it came about, and the whole dress. And that's pretty much what I've been doing since, is just going along with these groups and their meetings and attending the car shows. I'm a car show member myself. I'm from the car club Bridgetown out of La Puente, the San Gabriel Valley. I have a 1938 Chevy Sports Coupe, and you can see me on Instagram at Old School Chicano. That's pretty much it. I'm a retired or semi-retired paralegal. I used to work for a law firm. I was a senior paralegal for 30 plus years, and now just enjoying life and what it's all about, and definitely doing the Pachuco thing as it relates to, like I said, the different car shows, the gatherings, and things like that, things like that.
How did you first find out about the Pachuco lifestyle?
Well, since I was young, I remember in 1979, I actually went to the Zootsuit, the play that they had at the Mark Taper Forum. Yeah, so I was all into it back then. It was 1979. Yeah, and I begged my mom and my stepfather at the time to take me to the show, and me and quite a few of my homeboys went, and man, I just fell in love with it since then. And that was 79, so yeah. pretty much it. It's been a while before I was even able to afford a Zootsuit because at the time they were so expensive. So I just said, you know what, this is finally met with Vanessa and Pachuco Zootsuits in Fullerton off of Harbor and picked me up a couple and been doing it ever since, bro. I have my own little style to it, you know, with things like my rings and my bracelets, my different ties, my little boutonnieres, kind of give it my own little taste on it, you know what I'm saying? Kind of old school, pero Pachuco at the same time. Yeah, being old school, orale, como que no, you know what I mean? Ahí te guacho, mira los cacos, you know, all those tunes from all those sayings, or, you know, all the slang, we call it. Yeah. I don't speak Spanish, I speak Spanglish. So yeah, like I said, I'm old school veterano, into the Lowrider scene and the Pachuco scene, and just, you know, all aspects of my culture. I'm 100%, you know, Chicano to the heart and to my core. You know, I go out of my way to help my gente any way that I can, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy being a Pachuco. I enjoy being a Chicano. I enjoy being a veterano. Thank God that I made it this far. You know what I mean? Some of the craziness and pendejadas that I did as a youngster, but hey, you live and learn, you live and learn. Yeah, if you're gonna get into the Pachuco, I mean, first of all, I would recommend for you to learn your history, learn all about the Zootsuit riots and how it came about, and you know, when it started, and how, you know, what happened to those youngsters for just getting beat up just for the way that they dress and the color of their skin. So you need to learn all that because you're gonna get tested, you know, so know your history, know what it's all about. Get into the dress. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and you know, rock that style. I mean, this is más firme. You know what I'm saying? You know, yes. You know what I mean? All the way. So, you know, just you do you, but you know, add that little flavor to it. Always add that to it. I think that's kind of cool.
Okay, my name is Ruth, and these are my two daughters.
I'm Didi. I'm Nicole.
Okay, we're here on this event for the Zootsuit interview. As far as I like to dress like Zootsuit, I have some friends that are Zootsuiters, and I like the movement. You know, we've been with some of the Zootsuiters, you know, cruising, the Zootsuit riot, going back and forth and having these events. So I'm happy to be here to get together with the rest of the other people that dress like Zootsuit. And join together. That's what the purpose is. And I like to dress. That's part of the dudes, you know. It's not a crime to dress. Back in the days over there, it was a crime. Anybody like to dress. I mean, you know, there's not a crime committed on the dressing. And so the dudes, they suffered. All they did was like to dress and dance. And it was stopped, you know, it was robbed by them, but from you know, what the city council did to Zootsuiters, and all the Zootsuiters that suffer from the abuse from the military and the police. I went to Cal State Dominguez, and I studied the history of the Zootsuiters and everything like that, you know. I wasn't really involved. Matter of fact, I remember I used to see it. Lazaro used to come to the watch reunion. He used to come with him and Boogie. And I used to see him dress up. I used to tell him, hey, who does your clothes, Holmes? And he says over there, he would tell me, you know, where he got his clothes out, Pachuco and all that, yeah? Later on, I ran into Pachuco Manny. Pachuco Manny was one of my partners, so I went to school with his brothers. And we became good friends, and he was dressing up Zootsuit. Before you know it, now look at me, I got myself, and you know, I got my daughters here, you know. We now are in the Zootsuit thing, you know, but that's where it started. It started from back then with the people that I tell you, you know, and I met Pachuco Lobo. I met him, you know, I like the way he dressed, and I think there was a guy too, I think Mr. Pachuco. I don't see him around. He was another guy that I like. So I always like people that dress and that dance. You were a dancer and a dresser, that was my style, you know. I like that, so that's where you have me here. And now you have my daughters here with me, you know. They like the appearance, the dressing. They're learning a little bit, you know, but here we are. My mom used to always dance. She used to dance, not the Judybug, but the other one. My uncles were the ones that danced the Judybug. Her sister danced the Judybug. My mom was the younger one. So she danced a Mongo, you know, that's what my mom used to dance. She was good. So when she used to dress up in Fresno, she was a good dancer. So that was the style. So then that's where I liked that. I liked the Lobos, you know, and all that. I used to go cruising up to Woody Boulevard and all that. So all that combined together, you know, the going to the clubs, East LA. I used to go to Pasta House, International, or a lot of the clubs that I used to go to. So dancing and dress up was always the thing that I always liked. And then with the Zootsuit, well, that even stands out more. I've always learned slang, you know, the slang language, like, you know, okay, if you were a smoker, you always say prajos, macfilero, macuete, you know, hey, vato, where you from? I said, you know, all that stuff, you know, the slam talk and everything. I always, you know, them days are los, so they los, orale, you know. This was the old days. That's what we used to say. Now, you know, it's changed, the culture, but we still keep the, you know, we still like the old school, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of, you know, that we used to do. So like when the cops would stop us, that's what we used to use our code. We didn't want the cops to know, so we use our slam, you know, word.
Well, you know, I've always liked the fashion. I wish the fashion was still like this today. I think it's actually better. But I've always liked it, and I come to support my dad. He's into the whole Zootsuit thing. So, yeah. And I'm learning more as I come to the event. So my dad picked out the hairstyle, and I went to the hairstyle. It came out great. I like it. I love it.
It's like I hope that as we can pass the baton to the younger generation, and they catch up and let it, you know, live on to the next culture, you know, to the next generation. In other words, you know, that's what we want to do. Passing the baton to them, and know that this was the Pachuco culture, and you know what I mean, and that's their inherit, the roots, you know, kind of thing. We can't let it die out. We got to keep it going, you know. That's the way it is, and we'll go, and the next generation will catch on to the same thing, and that's the goal.
Hi, my name is Jessica. Everybody knows me as Brat. I'm from 310 Pachucos, and these are my children. I first started with this lifestyle when I was younger. My mom, I grew up around it, so I love it. It's our culture, and I'm proud to have this lifestyle. And every time I dress up and do our hair and get style outfits, it makes me proud. I remember when I was young, my mom actually, she used to dress up, and also the movies we used to see. So all the music, all the outfits, it was good. Since they were small, they liked the lifestyle, and yeah, I enjoy shopping. We go shopping, and they enjoy the lifestyle and getting dressed up and everything.
What are some of the places you like to shop?
We like to shop at the Pachuco store. There's also just vintage stores. You can find a lot of things at secondhand places. It's nice.
When I was younger, because of my mom, she got us into it, and I've liked it ever since. I just feel like it gives you like a sense of confidence in a way, because you look like different and you look like an individual. And a lot of times people ask you like, why you dress like this? And after starting to dress like this, we learned more about our culture and why it was important to dress like this, and who fought for it and why they fought for it. So it kind of feels like you're carrying on a tradition, and it shows why that fighting was important.
Did your mother help you with your hair?
Yes, she does my hair.
How long did it take
Probably about an hour and a half, yeah.
Well, I'm Francisco. I'm 20, and I've dressed like this since I was younger also, because our mom got us into it. I really liked the style and history behind it, and what it represents. To me, Pachuco and the Pachuco style kind of represents like strength and resilience in, you know, the face of adversary of like the overpowering government and stuff like that. And it makes me connect more to my culture as a Mexican American. I got most of my suit is a piece from. I like to go to more like secondhand places also to have it more like authentic in a way.
I'm Jesus. I first got into dressing like this from my mom when I was younger. I like it since the style and it helps connect with our culture.
Like to my cousins seeing me, like I think from them it might be like, oh, I don't want to go out out of my comfort zone or stuff like that because other people are not dressed like this. But I think seeing others do it, it shows you that it's something that you should be proud of instead of like embarrassed of.
Yeah, sometimes I'll like show my friends some photos and stuff like that of the different events and stuff like that, and how I'm dressed. And they really like it. They like and then I sometimes have to like let them know more behind what it means and stuff like that. And afterwards they really seem to respect it and like it.
Hola, me llamo Esti. I am representing the Southern California area. I grew up in Rosemead, and what leads me here today is I'm representing the Pachuco estilo. I started dressing this way when I was in high school, very young, probably 14 or 15 years old. I read my history, and I was very inspired by the Zootsuit riots and their struggle and their fight. Really inspired me to be who I am today. It also led me to join a really good organization called the Brown Berets. And so their struggle definitely inspires many others. And hopefully we keep the Pachuco movement alive. And I'm very happy everybody's here as well, keeping the spirit of the original Pachucos and the carnalismo, the solidarity between our Raza. It was just a very different time in those times. Their struggle is my inspiration for what I do today. I'm just a girly girl. I grew up watching my mom do her makeup and her hair, and I was very inspired by like the movies my parents used to watch, de Cantinflas, de Tintan, the Pachucos in that time, the beautiful women in the movies, the Cine de Oro. I was very mesmerized by those movies growing up. Me and my dad would just sit down and watch those movies, so that left a very big impression on me. And again, in high school, reading all my history, and I continued watching those movies and being inspired by that culture, the music, the blues, the jazz, the swing era. It was a crazy time, and sometimes I wish I was there. So this is why I emulate that spirit, that estilo at that time. It was defiance to American pop culture and forcing our Raza to naturalize to the system. And obviously they got into it with the racists at the time. And I'm very inspired by the Pachucas and their fight alongside their men. That they saw their men being attacked and they stepped up as well. And they're beautiful women with beautiful estilo, beautiful hair, to the sky. And that's what I think a Pachuco represents, just keeping your head up high, no matter the circumstances. You're gonna always look firme, you're gonna look sharp against all, obstacles and anybody that comes your way.
So the significance of the feather on the tandos, on the hat, you can see hers is different than his. Usually what you normally see is a pheasant feather. And that is a connection to our Mexica warriors from, many hundreds of years. The feathers represent a connection to our ancestors. When Mexica Azteca danzantes are dancing, They are praying, and their prayers are in their feet. When their feet hit the ground, their prayers are going to our ancestors with also the connection and the energies of the elements of the earth travel to the feathers. Same thing with our Pachucos. It's the same thing. The feather in their tando, in their hat, it gives them that beautiful energy, that great spirituality, in addition to the traje that they're wearing. In fact, our danzantes, what they wear is not a costume, just like our Pachuco clothes is not a costume. It's our trajes, and danzantes also call it trajes. And so that's the relationship that we have and we incorporate in the Pachuco attire, in the Pachuco regalia. This is our threads, our regalia. So I just wanted to explain how the two are connected. It's not just a beautiful, pretty feather to adorn, but it's a symbol of our heritage, a symbol of our cultura and our tradition. So like the feather that you see that she has in hers is a rooster. And then the feather that he has is a pheasant. It's just cut a little shorter. The importance of these feathers, just like our Mexica Azteca danzantes, you never touch their feathers because that is their power that is going into them. The same thing with them, you don't go around touching people's feathers. So yeah, that's the two similarities.
Con Sapo, así que my jefito, con Sapos goes way back, different barrios use that color, but it was a saying, C/S, or sometimes they use that diamond, but it was a term, a lot of folks use it today as a sign of respect, or that, but it was in his way. He used it as consapos. You don't like it, and what? It was more like fuck you, and what? If you don't like it, pretty much it was like whatever the little placazo was in their neighborhood. But I put together started like a little, not a project, but I shared images of different history of our gente, whether it was from the barrio or from Revolution. I kind of shared images, and so that was my way of getting it out there, sharing things that were lost, images, and then just like what today, what we're trying to bring back, sharing our history, with the caruchas right here, with our threads, it was beautiful today to see a lot of beautiful people out here today, and so those are the kind of things that I like, venturing off and seeing other people, projects take off, and then and con sapos, and that's a beautiful thing, with much respect and love,
And I've even seen it being used in the documentary, right? They were talking about it.
Yes, there's a film documentary, The Last Brown Beret. Del Zamora is the producer and pretty much put together this film. Right now he's showing it in theaters, like in Chicano study programs throughout some colleges, throughout Califas. And it's a story about the Brown Berets, the momento, the Chicano moratorium that took place right down here in Los, where the sheriff's department, assassinated a few Chicanos. Ruben Salazar was one of them. She was a Chicano journalist out here at that time. I don't believe they didn't like the message he was sharing. And the communities, the struggles they were going through, and there was a lot of stuff in that time in the 70s. Chicanos dying in Vietnam. So he was bringing a lot of that to light. Getting everybody waking the neighborhood up, which today we're still seeing those struggles, so, I think it's time to wake the neighborhood up and walk with that sleeping giant and march down these streets, on this coming moratorium, I believe. So, in that era too, that was, during war times, You know, there was Chicanos going, you know, on the other side with the sailors, you know. So yeah, you're right. Those struggles today, you know, from that era to today, you know, it comes down to the sheriff's department, you know. It's the LAPD out here, you know. But you know, hopefully we can all come together and continue on, you know, living beautifully and in harmony, you know, with our sharp threads.